I heard about this monstrous tip that you just got, Hip.
Do you mind telling all our listeners what kind of tip you got yesterday? Or
I got tipped $3,000.
$3,000 tip, you all, on top of an all-day marathon session.
Wow.
Did you hold a gun to her head to give you that?
I did. No, I did not.
Just a little bit.
So for you listeners, that may be mind-blowing. Does that bother you? Hey, brothers, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So
Very
good. Man, I love you guys.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you see my short beard?
Look at all our viewers. If you just listen, you need to hop over to YouTube and watch us.
Feeling pretty suave.
Mr. Carlton is looking so fresh and so clean. He's got a new look.
I think it's been like, I don't know if my wife's ever seen me like this. I mean, usually my beard's down to like here. It started coming out in clumps, and I was like, fuck it. Somebody said to take control, take ownership of that situation. So like we do, I'm just taking ownership, shave that bitch off mostly.
Yeah.
I didn't want to scare the family, so I started like a little bit.
There you go.
And you'll probably see it go a little smaller until the cancer's gone away, and then I'll grow it back, and it'll be glorious.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Absolutely glorious.
Man, he's looking good, though. He's lucky he's good looking.
You went back in time. For real.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't mind it. At first, I wasn't sure, but I don't mind it.
Yeah. So. And to be vain for a second, it's also good that you lost all that weight too.
Yeah.
Because clean shaven, skinny Josh is probably more attractive.
Give me a D. Give me a ubble. Give me a chin.
Hey, that neck's pretty bare too. You need a big throat jammer now.
I know. Immediately, I was like, man, I got fucking look at that space for a tattoo right there.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Today we're gonna talk about. Well, first, let us shout out our brother, fellow guardian, fellow pioneer, Mr. Russ Abbott.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Josh, you know him personally. Hip, have you ever met Russ?
I walked by his booth a time or two, scared to say what's up. So,
cool. Yeah.
You basically know him. You guys
met.
are good tight. He calls you at home.
Man, we go way back.
Well, he is a member in the Facebook group Tattoo Shop, Shop Talk. And God knows how many others. But last week, he posed a few questions for all the artists that I thought were wonderful questions. And I'm going to read verbatim what Mr. Abbott posted. He asked, how many days a week would you like to tattoo? You could design your perfect life. Would you tattoo more or less than what you do now? And what's stopping you from achieving that ideal work-life balance? And then he goes first and says, I'm currently booking one client a week and spending the rest of my work time on other projects. And I just thought, and I even commented like, man, Russ, because I don't know Russ, we haven't met yet. I'm looking forward to meeting that gentleman. But what wonderful questions to even pose to artists. Some already know the answers, some think they do, and others are out there not even living in that question. They're on the hamster wheel, taking it week by week. And so, today we wanted to discuss that because this is a serious topic in your career, in your life, that's connected to your head and heart. And and I love that he asked it in a way of, if you could design your perfect life, would you tattoo more or less than what you do now? And what do you think's stopping you from achieving that ideal work-life balance? Man. And does that resonate with you, gentlemen, and what's coming up for you guys?
Yeah, what a great question. First of all, I'm pretty sure that Russ interviews the great Mike Chambers with this question. And so head on over when you get a chance to his episode of that. I believe it might be on YouTube. I'm sure if you just go to Russ's Facebook and Instagram page, you can find some information. But let's support Russ as well.
Absolutely.
And head on over there and listen to that and hear that discussion, But what a wonderful question. For me, I've been tattooing so damn long. It's like I remember the days of just like, cranking it out in a shop. And I don't think I ever even considered anything like that. It's just whatever the boss said, like, oh, we're closed on Sundays. It's like, okay, I work 6 days a week. I never even considered it. But now that I've got my own studio and I try to do my own thing, I think I still have that mentality in me to just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a great question, because it's like, what is holding me back? Like, what would be the ideal work week for me? I do a lot of other things, my music, and I've recently started a clothing company. We've got the podcast and other things.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's weird. Like he says, Russ says he's tattooing 1 day a week. Is that correct?
That's right. He says he schedules one client a week to tattoo, and he spends all the rest of his time on other projects.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think something close to that. I think maybe I would say 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'd split them up. Maybe I'd do a tattoo on Tuesday and a tattoo on Friday or something like that. And I'd be super, super picky, because it's not picky in the vein of I'm too good for your tattoo. It's picky in the vein of I want your tattoo to be the best it can be. And I know my strengths and my weaknesses. Even after all these years, we do have strengths and weaknesses, and I want to have fun. And all of the things that I've been through, if this cancer journey has taught me anything, it's the importance of family and time.
Yes.
Time. I don't care how much money I have. I can't buy one more minute.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, brother.
So Russ is really onto something here, because I could see it maybe even being one tattoo a week. And I'd love that tattoo to be all day, right?
Yeah.
It's something I wait for, and I'm like, ooh, I get a tattoo on Tuesday. I'm going to tattoo for 8 hours. It's going to be great. I could be really selective with my clients, even more than I am now. So yeah, but at the same time, the next question was, what's holding you back? That sounds terrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're used to what we're used to. I'm used to making the money that I make. I have a really difficult time telling people no. Yeah. That's something I've been working on. So I do tend to overcommit and overbook myself. I know you guys are the same.
Yeah.
So what is keeping me from living that life? The number one thing would be fear. I'm not a huge fan of change. I get comfortable in my environment. I'm definitely a creature of habit. If I find something I like, I kind of just do it for the rest of my life, If you know me, you know that I love chicken fingers, chicken strips of all kinds. It's like it's always a safe bet for me. It's like it's just something I've eaten for 40 years, So, yeah, I guess the fear of change. Does that resonate with you guys?
Totally.
Absolutely.
Raising Cane's or Chick-fil-A?
Raising Cane's. Now, Chick-fil-A now, I'll fucks with some Chick-fil-A. Which is weird, because I heard the secret ingredient was like they soak them in pickle juice, and I fucking hate pickles. Wow. I hate pickles. So like, I don't taste pickle juice. I know like McDonald's tried to come out with their version of it, and to me you can really taste the pickle flavor. Yeah. But I'm guessing this is an Ohio thing or something. Raising Cane's, that they got good chicken strips though.
Yeah. So I mean, they call people that eat their caniacs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a worldwide thing or a national. I guess.
I mean, it's possible, and I'm just dumb and didn't get it. But the next time I'm out, guess where you're taking me?
Dude, I don't get the hype on Cane's.
I mean, it's good.
But,
I know.
I just don't get the hype.
Right.
People raved about it so much, and then it's like,
I'm still a Popeyes fan.
Me too. I love Popeyes.
I love
Popeyes. But yeah, anyway, sorry about that. Let's get back on track.
I was just curious. Yeah.
So yeah,
this episode today is about chicken fingers.
Yeah.
Hey, we finally got a sponsor. It's Popeyes, and it's sponsored by chicken wings.
I would actually be cool with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what you were saying, and like even what Russ said about 1 day a week, that I can understand it, but I don't know. I haven't been tattooing as long as him. I haven't been tattooing as long as you guys. But like, I mean, I was taking some notes down when I was thinking about it. And really, for me, right now, I'm doing a perfect workload. It's anywhere from like 2 to 3 times a week.
And they're all dayers.
I'll do strictly all dayers, and now it can be up to 4 if I do like 2 days back to back. I can totally get with that. But if, for whatever reason here lately, like I've been enjoying since I've been a tattoo artist, Mondays and Tuesdays were my days off. Every other day at the shop, 24/7, Wednesday through Thursday. Then I incorporated in like, the longer and better I was getting at tattooing, the more funneled my clientele started to become. So then instead of like being the artist, who I still do this from time to time, but I try not to, that waits till the last second to make the design, I started dedicating Wednesdays and not tattooing, and those were for in-person consultations or phone calls and stencil building. And then that matured into like, now I 2 to 3 at the most 4 times a week, but ultimately, in the last couple months, like I've been keeping my schedule super open. I don't like to exceed 2 months of a waiting list, and also I don't like to get less than 2 weeks out. So, and really a month, if I do just 2, let's say I do 3 tattoos a week for a month, that's 9 to 12 tattoos a month that I need to do. And a lot of my clientele right now are return clients, because they're big pieces I'm working on. But also, dude, environment can change that, because a lot of the times I'm the last dude in the shop tattooing and I'm by myself, and like everyone's went home for the day, and I usually finish up an hour or 2 after that. But when me and Matt started working together, he would tattoo, he'd start at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and tattoo well into 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
Really?
And just because he was there doing that made me want to be there and do that. So I would, if there's like 3 dudes that are fucking jamming all day sessions and it becomes more consistent, then just out of default, I'll fall into that environment and let that dictate me. But a lot of people right now at the shop are more early birds. And they start at like 9 to 10 usually in the morning. I'll start, the earliest I like to start's 12, because I've been giving myself my time in the morning to do everything, gym, journal, etc. Show up, work a solid 8 hours, give or take, and then I get some more freedom in the evening. And yeah, so, and also, I mean, I guess it depends on your style too, because like I'm more of a realism artist, so it's like, if I was doing more traditional pieces or like a minimalist piece, or something that had, it was just line work and some stipple shading, I could. Now, granted, there's dudes out there that fucking do all day sessions and cover so much ground, but for like the dudes that are doing like some trad shit, that I know a lot of traditional artists that are quick and accurate and precise and can knock out pieces. So I guess when it would fall into that category, it would be more like how many days do you work versus like how many tattoos you do. Because really, what I'm going off of is not necessarily the days, but the tattoo.
Right.
Yeah.
But
his first question when he starts it out is how many days a week would you like to tattoo? And so this depends on where we're at in our journey. But I like that he poses it, almost as if you had a magic wand. How many days would you like to? And that's when he leads to, if you could design your perfect life, then what would it look like? And we're blessed. I've watched you design your perfect life and then redesign it and then design it over again. So where you're sitting today, you haven't always been rolling that way.
Correct.
But that's the beauty of this, back to how oftentimes we're helping give people permission, that we get to design our own lives, by our own design. What the work-life balance looks like for you could be different for someone else. You fucking love tattooing so much. There was a time that, you were tattooing every day, all day, but it wasn't because you had to. It was because you got to and liked to.
Right.
And,
Chris, when he was working with us, I remember he only would come in, he dropped down to 2 days a week, and I don't know, ego or whatever, fucking, I'm a tattoo artist. I almost took pride in being there and making sure I was tattooing 5 days a week.
Yep.
But, and there was nothing wrong with that at all. And I guess maybe it's just a change or a shift in something to where more freedom to do it. I got other hobbies now, but I still fucking love to tattoo. And it was almost like as that funneling was growing, I could be a little bit more particular in the pieces that I wanted to take on. And two, I feel like it allows me to give 110% to the people that I am working on and
just
working with.
Same with Josh.
Right.
Yeah. It's so good. Now, let's pause this conversation for a second and for all our viewers and listeners, because I hear them, a lot of you all, thinking thoughts and saying, well, we're not motherfucking Russ Abbott on his level. We're not motherfucking the great Joshua Carlton. We're not even fucking hip, right? So easy for you guys to say, sure, if I was Russ Abbott, I would have the luxury to do 1 day a week too. If I was Josh Carlton, I could do whatever the fuck I wanted to, but I'm not. You guys don't understand where I'm at, right? And the reason why that's important, and the reason why this discussion is so great and this question is so great, is to first help you get over the hump and the huge misconception that you must first be at Joshua Carlton, Russ Abbott, and Hip's level of success.
It's funny you're categorizing me with them two.
Right? Because our listeners are. You know what I'm saying? I'm not you guys. I'm not at your level yet, so I can't. And so people are real quick to disqualify themselves in even feeling like they have a vote in the matter, right?
Right.
And it's so common. So all of you guys know that we have a coaching program called Tattoo Business Mastery, and this is one of the very things we help people get in their own life, wherever you're at, whatever level you're at. If you're a first-year tattooer, whatever the case may be. If you could, like Russ is asking, if you could design your own work-life balance, and what would that look like? How many a day? And that's what we live by at Aisle 9 with all of our students, is we give them permission and help them, give them permission to dream again, literally define your perfect work life. And that comes down to even financial goals, because we all got bills like our floor. We've got to at least bring this much home. But what would you like to be bringing home? Again, back to Russ's question. What would you like? And what does that look like? So once people define man, I love tattooing, but I'm pretty much toast after these many days. This is the goal I'd like to hit. How much money? What does that look like? How many days of tattooing? What does that look like for you to hit that? And we reverse engineer it and help our students walk it out and achieve it, no matter where they're at, including nobodies. But before we even get there, so many artists have a weird emotional connection around this thing called money, to the point where if you hear about someone else making more money than you, charging more money than you, and if that bothers you, if that gets under your skin, if that makes you upset, even to the point of judging that other motherfucker, how dare him, the audacity to charge those prices. Right. That's your first clue that it's something with you versus whoever you're judging, And it comes down to what you really believe is possible for you. You brought up Chris Powell. So Chris Powell's an amazing artist, amazing black and gray artist. When he came to us, and here's the deal, because I interview students all the time, and even students when they're joining us, they all have a similar story. Tell me if this resonates with you. If you're sitting there thinking, okay, fellas, but you don't understand what town I'm from, what town I live in. The economy's hit here. Don't nobody here even got that kind of money. Nobody here even wants cool shit. We got to get in when we fit in. Yes, of course, I would love to be like Russ and only work 1 day a week and have other time for projects. But of course, I'd love to be like Hip and Carlton, where I get to choose all day sessions with just 2 or 3 times a week. So many people think, you guys aren't in my city, in my town. Chris Powell was that same way when he came to us. and he was from a town. It's called Springfield, Ohio, and it's not known as one of the classier areas, right?
Correct.
And Springfield was 45 minutes away from aisle 9. Chris comes to join aisle 9 with these same stories. Nobody around here's got money. No one's got cool shit. And he was working 6 days a week for peanuts, barely getting by. So before we accept him on the team, I wanted to check, see how coachable he is. Are you open? Meaning, if there was a better way, are you even open to it? Because we all know artists that have been in the game long enough to believe their own limiting beliefs as 1,000% fact. It's the only thing possible for them. And they're not even open to a better way. Like, nah, fuck, this is the way it's always been. This is just the way it is. And guess what? You're right. That is your reality. You just said so, you know? But for those that, even if you don't know how, because that's what we teach, even if you don't see it being in the cards for you, are you at least open to maybe, we live in a universe with infinite possibilities, that there could be a better way for you, and are you open to it? The people that say yes, the people that are open to it, are the people we bring on board to coach and mentor. So back to Chris. He had those same stories, and we had to ask, dude, are you open? Because at that same time, Pip and I had people driving from Springfield to our shop throwing down stacks, right? I knew when you say no one, geez, there's always, it doesn't matter. And Chris didn't need everyone. He just needed the right someones. Mm-hmm. So check it. Chris became a student of Tattoo Business Mastery and worked with us. And don't you know, Chris worked with us for 3 years. Here's the funny thing. Not only did his whole life get transformed, not only was he able to create his own life by design.
From 6 to 2 days a week.
From 6 days to 2 days a week. 6 days working hard, barely making ends meet, to now 2 days a week.
Where did he
And guess what he did, Josh? After he left aisle 9, he went back to that same shit town and opened his own studio.
Where nobody will give him...
Nobody. And now he's fucking killing it. Well, what changed? Did that whole town and the economy change just in the past couple years? Absolutely not.
Yeah, as they put
Chris
a Walmart
changed.
there.
They put a Walmart there, yeah. What changed? Chris changed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When we become more empowered and learn, when the things on the inside of you change, your perspective change. Man. Everything out here also changes. His Springfield did not change. Chris changed, and so did his whole life. And our point is, it's possible for you. So now back to posing these questions. The question is, what would you create? What is your perfect work-life balance? What does it look like? How many days are you tattooing? We take it even as far as, what are your clients like? What type of pieces are they asking you for? What if you could attract your ideal clientele who love you, see you, don't balk at your prices, fucking give you good tips, and are even asking you to do the very thing that's in your wheelhouse, versus feeling like, you take some of the good with the bad? Because all of you artists I know have a client where you think to yourself, my God, I love that dude. I wish I had 10 more of that guy.
Right.
As if it's luck of the draw. And early on when you're building, it is. But once you get to a certain point, you can then switch to building and creating your whole dream life. And that's why we love that Russ and Mike Chambers have opened the discussion and the conversation. So beautiful. But what's coming up for you guys?
For me, one thing I've noticed is, you don't know what you don't know. You can always learn from somebody that's even newer. So I kind of want to quickly give a shout out to my boy, an artist that I've recently discovered, maybe in the last couple of years. His name is Cody Richards, and he tattoos in Indiana, right where I used to tattoo.
Yeah.
He's only been tattooing for 6 years. If you haven't had a chance to look him up, he's doing some of the nicest black and gray work going around today. I'm eager to get back and visit Indiana to say hi to him. And I've not met him in person. And we've talked a lot, and he's got this kind of system. I'm sure a lot of artists have this. But like I said, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And he has a way that he tattoos every time he does it. And he's kind of found that balance in his life, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And all it is, he takes on pretty big projects, a lot of kind of outer half sleeve or even full sleeves, but every single tattoo that he takes on, he has full, complete control over. I think in his notes when you write him, it even says, I only want to do my best work. And some people are going to think this is like a snooty thing or like a too good. I never take it like that. Cody wants to do his best work. He knows he knows where he's at. Mm-hmm. So he says at the end of the day, you have to surrender. You know, and I really like that. You have to surrender. I'm going to be the one that once we discuss on the artwork, if you change it last minute, I'm not going to tattoo you. You know, likely. So you have to surrender because you found him and you like his artwork. Right. But what he does is every appointment is 2 days, no matter what. You know what I mean? It takes him 2 days. He's kind of worked it out. He works on what he does. I'm assuming long sessions because they're pretty big pieces. I don't know how many days a week he works or how many tattoos he does a week. Mm-hmm. But I like that. I like that, you know, the idea of getting up in the morning and knowing I'm going to be doing the same thing repetitively that I've done, because to me, that's how you master something, right? You're not just like all over the place. Today I'm doing this and tomorrow I'm doing that. And, you know, he's choosing black and gray. I did recently see some new posts on Facebook that he's been talking about doing some color work. I don't know if I've ever seen any color work. He's so talented. I'm sure it would be beautiful. Yeah. But if you get a chance, check out Cody Richards. I don't know if he's a listener of the podcast. I'll change that today, hopefully. But I do love, like I said, his plan. So I'm kind of asking you, Matt and Hip, do you really have that? Have you really honed in a way that you do things? Because I like the idea, once I go back to work, I may do something similar. You know, everybody that I book, 2 days, because I'm obviously slowing down with cancer. And even when I come back, the chemotherapy whips my ass. So having 2 days gives me a nice comfort zone. If I really communicate with my clients, they know it's 2 days. They've got me. They've got my full attention for 2 days, right? Yeah. They're paying a premium, but they're getting 2 days worth. I really like that idea, and I'm really interested in exploring it. And I know, Hip, you do a lot of multiple sessions. Are you booking a lot of 2 days like that, or do you at least have a rhythm that you tend to stick with?
Yes and no. I totally appreciate what here's the me being an island. I gotta, why I think my situation's different, and it's not. I do appreciate the consistency of this is exactly what you get, and it's all the way across the board the same for everyone. I will try different things a lot of times. Like something will be going smoothly, and I'll purposely, rattle the box to see if there's a different or a better way. And I don't know why I do that. I guess I'm still trying to find my way with it.
Well, yours may not be as specific, but you have defined who you are and how you operate. You're not that far all over the place just because you don't have just one door. And if you don't walk through this door, then, it sounds like Cody has got one option on the menu, take it or leave it. Right. But you've got more than one option, but you've still got how you operate is either 1, 2, or option number 3.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I think the reason why I speak to this is, one, I've had the honor of growing with you over the past 5 years. And so we can use your example. When you and I came together, you were just doing anything and everything you can. Right. And I remember the first time we discussed on how you could even charge $1,000. And when you finally quoted and booked your first $1,000 client, how your mind was blown. That was not only possible and possible in this town, but possible for you. And you did it, right? So that changed everything, because once you did that, I remember you started booking clients for $1,000 days. Right. Go ahead.
Well, you bring up a good point too, and you touched on it, but also at that moment it was cool that I seen it was possible, but too, since then it's been a journey of digging deep internally about my personal relationship with money and realizing that it's not monetary, or it's not morality when it comes to money. And I have this, I wrote this in my notes, but it may be true across the board in any career or job, but it seems like, and maybe it's so prevalent with me because I'm in the industry and I see it all the time and I came from it and had to grow out of it, but like the lack mentality that's in the industry, or you're a bad person if you charge X amount, or if you've only been tattooing this long and you're picking and choosing your clients like it's a bad thing. And it's like this lack energy that's almost like programmed in our DNA. If we're going to become tattoo artists, then you should frown on money and, fuck money.
Or they make an either or, like, dude, I just fucking love the art, man. I ain't even in this for the money.
I love the money and I love the art.
Thank you.
But it's taken me a long time to even be able to say that and say it honestly and actually say it, hear myself say it, and then believe it. Sure. Because it's just energy, right? It's just, there's transformation in the transaction.
Every time. And value, money, like you said, is just energy. As you've grown, as a man, as an artist, your technical ability, your process, your application, your saturation, whatever. As you've grown, so does your worth and value of what you can deliver product and service-wise. And so the dollar just follows that value. As you've grown and become better, you've become more valuable. Right? But other than all that, it's a worthiness thing, because we know artists that are absolutely amazing and still struggle with knowing their own self-worth because of the things you were just touching on.
Man, I don't even know if this has anything to do with it, right? But like, I went with a more expensive company that was honest with me to put a driveway in my backyard a couple months ago, and I had to dump more money into it than I was expecting. But the quality of work, the honesty, and the integrity from the company, it was worth every penny, every hour that I worked at work to save up for that. The saving up for that and maybe not spending a little bit of extra money here because I had to put it back for this, and sacrificing a little made it just that much greater. And I can explain that and reverse engineer it, because it's the same way for a client that has to save up and maybe not go out to eat as much that week because they want your work. It's not, I just want a tattoo, but there are people out there right now that are looking at your portfolio that want you to do the fucking tattoo. And, you got to think, dude, motherfuckers will spend $200 on a pair of shoes, that they're going to wear X amount of time, that a tattoo will outlast that. But now I'm going into something complete.
Great. I love that. You're falling into the trap that so many artists do of trying to now justify your rates. That's why even people in this pandemic has brought up, well, now the price of gloves and everything's gone up. I got to raise my price. You know what I'm saying? Because they still didn't come to that conclusion of worth or defining it. That now they're going to compare. Well, I've raised my prices because gloves are so hard to find, or making comparisons. People spend more on their hair or shoes, blah. And this is forever, right? And even though that's true, we don't need those comparisons to bring validity to your identity, who you are, and who you've said you are, and who you're growing into becoming needs no explanation, and we don't need something out here to make your truth be true. Right. It's you getting to speak your own truth, no matter what that looks like, from a position of value. And again, we all have grown in our value. You guys charge more today than what you did years ago, right? Because you've grown in every area. And I love this because as far as you've come, and I guarantee compared to most of our listeners, wouldn't it be safe to say that you probably make more than the average tattooer, or your rates are? And it's all, it depends on, it's all relative, right?
What I make today, what I make today, because I found self-worth and chosen to step into that, has allowed me what Russ Abbott is the question he posed. Because everyone else has the same exact ability.
Yes.
It's just, you got to get there. But it has allowed me freedom to, not have to slave away. Now it's like I have the option, and I got like this habit, the tattoo shop's my second home, and I enjoy being there. I enjoy like having people bounce ideas off of me and vice versa. But it's like I don't have to grind it out 5 to 6 days a week to make sure that my head stays afloat.
That's right.
I got tons of flexibility.
Yes.
And two, that does a couple things for me. It allows me not to get burnout, but almost in the last month or two that my schedule was kind of opened up and been more flexible, I'm hungry each time I got to go and tattoo.
That's right.
And I want to learn different techniques and more, and like want to take seminars and ask questions and probe more people. And it's like the passion, it's on fire right now.
I love it. Now check it. If you could really take a look here, yes, you've grown as an artist. Yes, you're always working on your craft and your technical ability. But what do you think really has attributed to your personal development and your growth in this area versus just your portfolio, meaning in your following, right? Meaning you didn't give yourself permission to up your prices just based on your technical ability and how many people are following you on Instagram, correct? Even though that's a huge misconception. People think, when I get to Josh Carlton level, then I'll be able to charge. When I get as many followers as Dave Tevenall, then and only then, right? And we know that's not true, right?
I know it's not true.
So again, what do you think has really helped you get to this place? Because you still don't have a shitload of followers in the industry, even though we get,
Thanks, Matt.
I'm just saying, in the industry, you and I could be considered nobodies.
Right.
In the industry. Now, maybe they know us now because of this podcast, but before that, it compared to legends like Josh sitting here where everyone knows that man's name, and there are people who don't know who the fuck you and I are.
Right.
But that's why I love this, because there are artists that are considered nobodies all across the globe that are more free and financially free, mentally free, and have a great work-life balance with their whatever that looks like. But it's not because they got 300K followers, and it's not because they're the dopest fucking artists out there. So there's something else to this, right? What do you think is attributed to you and your growth? And
fucking honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, an empty cup. Like you always say, you can keep fighting for those limited beliefs, and you can keep them.
Yeah. If you want to fight to hang on to all your limiting beliefs, your reward is you'll get to keep them.
Right.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. My ability to be willing and teachable to try something different, because when you first started talking all this fucking woo jibber jabber, you're not telling me like the best fucking voltage to run a fucking 27 mag or the pendulum swing. It didn't have nothing to do with that, but it had something to do with that. And I just had to like fucking drop down the judgment and apply some of it and learn, because where we're at in Ohio, there's fucking badasses here, and that was a hurdle for me, because it's like, well, if I was comparing my insides to other artists' outsides.
Yep.
So
that's
once
the trap.
And it is a trap. It totally is. And I had to deal with that for so long of like, well, my work's not quite this good, and that guilty feeling of like charging X amount and knowing it's closing in on this artist that's fucking great and has been around forever. I had to look deep and be like, I don't need permission to be who I'm going to be. So I had to like step into that. So yeah, what attributed the most is definitely my willingness and teachability to try something new and not believe the naysayers.
Right. And the haters, because now that you've grown And once word got out on the street, even here locally, what we charge, now you got other artists that almost hate your guts for it, right? Which really tells us more about them and where they're at, as this invisible, limited line is, you're good here, but if you charge any more than this, now all of a sudden it becomes a morality thing. Now all of a sudden we're complete immoral dudes or something, which is also an insult to your clients who have their choice and they know your prices. They know everyone else around's prices. They know who you are and how you operate. They could have gone somewhere else and paid half what you're charging them.
And could have got it just as good, if not better.
Yeah. But still chose you.
Right.
And I've never seen you hold a gun to anyone's head and make them get tattooed by you.
No.
And I also seen how clearly you communicate on the front end who you are, how you operate, and what they're signing up for with your price tag. They still get to choose. You don't change. You're the same today, yesterday, and every day. And it's all about finding the right fit for you and your client. And that's the journey, in that we get to step into that. But the things that so many of your listeners think has to take place before you can even walk that out is huge misconceptions. We're always going to be growing in our technical ability. We got Joshua Carlton on with us, who is still growing as an artist, who is still hungry. Last week we talked to Guy Aitchison, been in the game forever, wrote a fucking encyclopedia, and is still growing, still hungry. We will always be growing as artists, getting to that next level, right? And in that journey, there's things out here we can take in to add to our own arsenal. I'm going to take Carlton's seminar to learn more skills, more techniques. I'm going to study this and take on new things to add to our tool belt in life and as artists, which is so powerful. We all need that. But simultaneously, a very important thing to learn as we're growing, as we're taking things from the outside in, is also realizing all the shit we're hanging on to that we need to learn to let go of. That's not serving us, staying in our way. Russ asked, what do you think has been holding you back? Josh was authentic and vulnerable enough to admit fear, right? We all have limiting beliefs. And again, this is a big thing we address in Tattoo Business Mastery. I've had limiting beliefs that I was carrying since I was 4 years old. But guess what? I didn't know it, because limiting beliefs don't show up in your life as Mayday, Mayday, hey, I'm your 42nd limiting belief. You've had this out. You don't know that. They don't show up as limiting beliefs. That's just the way it is. That in your life, that's just how it is. Motherfucker ain't going to tell me this has been like this my whole career, my whole life, right? And so that's why you said what's helped you is being open and coachable. And we all need people in our lives to be like a mirror for us, to help us see our own blind spots, help us see that which we cannot see. And the analogy I like to use for limiting beliefs is what I call spiritual assassins. Right. Back to letting go is we're all riddled with fucking lenses, just layers of lenses skewing our perception. But when we can identify them and start removing lenses and lens after lens to bring us back to our true self so that we can see and walk empowered in our true identity. This isn't about becoming someone that you're not. It's actually about letting go and removing all the shit that's been causing blockage and skewing your perception about you, to let go of that so you can step into a truer and the best version of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And man, that's the journey. That's the journey I've seen you be on with me for years now, which is why you now charge 4 times what you used to, right? And you get to. And so can every single one of you viewers and listeners. Now, how to get there is a whole nother ball of wax, but go ahead.
No, I was thinking, like, why is it I can throw out spoiled milk from my fridge, with no problem, and when I got spoiled milk internally, like I just want to drink it and hold on to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, for one, that's all you know. Welcome to the human experience. This is why we need one another and coaches and brothers and sisters in our lives to remind us of who we are and to encourage us to keep going, because we all have those days. I do too. That's why even though I'm a business coach for the tattoo industry, I spend a lot of money on coaching. I got my own coaches, and my coaches have coaches. The best in the world all have coaches when you really want to grow. And it's funny to me how many tattooers are closed off to such things. And it's just lack of understanding, But also I feel like that's why I was glad that Russ Abbott posed that question and that he joined up with the great Mike Chambers to open the discussion, because I don't know about you, Josh, but in most of those Facebook groups that are tattoo groups, right, it just seems like I feel bad for the people who are really seeking help, because most of those groups seems like they're lined up with haters ready to fucking light you up.
Yeah, no matter what somebody says, they just attack them. Now, some of this obviously comes from one, just welcome to the internet, having fun on the internet.
Right.
A lot of it comes from people in the past who have maybe identified as a business coach. They have some sort of scam or something going on. So we're all kind of guarded.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've told you this before I got to know you.
Yeah.
I had a few people like, oh, Matt Clemmer, yeah, what's he up to? He's, that's some weird magical shit, and it wasn't until we had a couple of conversations about pricing where we even disagreed, and you kind of said, well, hey, hear me out. And now I have since learned monumentally from you. It's not even about me, but that was very unexpected. I didn't even necessarily know I was looking for something. I knew I had fear. I knew I had doubt. I knew that I was afraid of change. And you helped me change all of those things, actually make, I hadn't changed my prices in I don't even know how many years, and I was able to do that. Again, thank you so much. I'll really never be able to repay you for what you did for me. But I see some of the tattoo forum talk you're talking about.
Yeah.
I see when you get on there and you ask just a question and you get hit with like pseudo jokes, but also mistrust. But then you're good at handling it, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, I'll jump on a phone call."
Yeah, for sure.
And now, you have to think. I'm coming from a point of view where I wrote a book, I made DVDs, I told secrets of how I tattooed. People fucking hated me until they read the book and they were like, "Oh, he's not teaching somebody how to tattoo from the floor up. He's not." He's not giving away secrets. He's just saying, hey, if you are a seasoned tattoo artist, I'm shouting from the rooftops, this works for me. Yes. Try it out. I'm sharing it. I wasn't out to get you. It wasn't a gotcha moment or a money grab. You know what I mean? And there's not a lot of people that trust other people that they don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. And so we are guarded. I think as an industry, we're guarded. And I do think we have some right to be, because there are some sharks out there.
Dude, you could put me in a fucking pool full of sharks and I'm still going to eat and I'm still going to thrive.
That's right.
And not even be focused on them. It's Gary Vee. You can build the biggest tower in the city without having to tear everybody else's down. And I think that's still applicable even if they're attempting to tear your building down.
Absolutely.
You just keep fucking building and building and
That's
building.
Right. Yep, because the ancient scripture says your gift makes room for you. It doesn't matter if there's 10,000 other people around you doing what you do. Your gift makes room for you.
Absolutely. And I think I'm guilty myself of sometimes you just repeat things you've heard that sound right because we're a tattoo artist, and it's like, yeah, fuck that guy for charging too much, and then you don't even realize what you're parroting back. Yeah. And you're like, wait, so for me to start out with by saying, I don't agree with what somebody charges. It's like, and you were like, well, is he booked? And it's like, really quickly I was like, well, yeah, he is booked. But my brain is like, because he's taking advantage of people. And it's like, well, is he doing good work? Not only is he doing beautiful work, his customers are clearly happy. They keep coming back. Like you said to Hip, nobody's holding a gun to their head. Yeah. So this particular artist that we were speaking of that started this entire journey for me, I realized the errors of my ways. I was immediately just like, he's charging too much. Who's he to charge that much?
Right.
And now I'm completely understanding I just wasn't looking at it the right way, nor asking the right questions.
That's right.
Sometimes I ask the wrong questions a lot in my whole lifetime, or I look at it the wrong way. And I've said this before, but how can you get the right answer if you're not even asking the right questions? I'm very guilty of that. Very guilty of that. It's something I work on, and as I've been working on it, I always tell my wife, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I keep repeating myself because I just keep saying." We're looking at it the wrong way. It's not this. We're trying to turn this into this, but actually this is what's really happening, and then it's crystal clear.
Josh, that's such wisdom. Such wisdom coming out. Not only that he knows that, but practices it. And especially when shit is popping up and not going your way, when most people fold, go into victim mode, we're fucked. But the fact that he realizes, actually, we're living in a universe of infinite possibilities. Instead of being so quick to be like, this is all there is, that he at least we must be looking at this another way. There's got to be another more possibility. So he's open to possibility, but the wisdom to know that and to live that, like you said, like you're just doing it all the time, is fucking powerful.
Yeah, I think that it's such a big thing. Like, obviously, we don't have the answers to the universe, right?
Right.
Everybody tries to solve these problems. Like, why are we here? Where did we come from? Like, the James Webb telescope is about to come out. I don't know how familiar you guys are with this. In mid-December, the James Webb telescope's coming. It's going to change the world. This telescope will literally be able to see so far that we'll actually be able to witness the Big Bang happening. Now, think about that. When you see a shooting star and you're like, wow, a shooting star, make a wish. That shooting star could be 1 million years old for how long light takes to travel. Imagine that we have that knowledge now, trying to ask that question 1,000 years ago, 1 million years ago, right? So we are trying to solve things that we just don't have the question for. Like, whether it's why are we here to how to do a certain tattoo style. So you might watch somebody, like a big thing I see, what is so-and-so's voltage at? And you've heard me say this before, but they never say also what machine. Right? So if Matt Clemmer tattoos at 6 volts, that doesn't mean anything because he's not using the same machine as me.
Right.
Motors are different. You're asking the wrong question. You're hoping I can go dial it in to 6 volts and I'm Matt Clemmer. Matt Clemmer has a different nuance and a different subtlety, different ink viscosity. If he's using Redemption or Hustle Butter, the viscosity will make the needles travel on paper differently.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
All of these nuances together equal something different. So only someone like Hip that is in your studio and is going to watch over your shoulder for long periods of time will pick up these subtle things, right? And suddenly Hip starts asking the right questions. And suddenly Hip's tattoos kind of start to look closer to Matt's, to the point that he goes, okay, I'm tattooing a lot like Matt, but now it's time to find Hip. Yes. So he starts asking new questions.
Yes.
So,
jeez, that's powerful.
I really, truly, with all my heart, I believe we're asking the wrong questions a lot. You can, you have to get to a point in your life where you understand there's things you can control around you and there's things that you cannot control.
Yes.
And when you can control, understanding what you can control is extraordinarily powerful. You'd be amazed at how much you do have. Take a deep breath, slow everything down, look at things logically, look at things scientifically, and don't just start lashing out and firing off the same questions you've been asking for your entire lifetime because it's gotten you nowhere. And that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah. That's so good, Josh. That's so good. I love that.
Fucking mic drop.
Yeah. Man. Well, and when he used the word control, I couldn't help but think of how people get lost in the land of the how.
Yeah.
Right? And he said there's things you can control, there's things you can't control. But if we're talking about infinite possibilities, thank God, ultimately the how is not your job to figure out nearly as much as it's your job to just focus on the what and the who. What is it that you want? Back to Russ's question. If you could, create and design your own life, what would that look like? What do you want? What do you want to make a week? What type of tattoos do you want to do? What's your workload? How many days you want to tattoo? To focus on the what it is that you want in what that looks like for you to become who you be doing that, and watch the whole universe deliver unto you the how. When we focus on the what, the how will reveal itself. But so oftentimes we get stuck and don't even start stepping into it because we don't have the crystal ball and the fucking how. So we just stay on the starting line. When clarity comes in the doing,
Man.
you must step out and start walking it out. And along the way, the how will reveal itself. What you got, Hit?
No, I'm just fucking digging it. And you said it, clarity comes in the doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's be, do, have. You know, if you want to be a great tattoo artist, then it must start up here and in here.
That's right.
And then
That's right.
automatically your feet are going to follow.
That's right. And you know it real quick, because we brought up, and you guys know it's a saying when people be like, man, it's not all about the money, right? We've
Right.
all heard that. It's a saying. Hey, man, it ain't all about the money. Well, no shit. And you know what? People who actually have some money know that better than any of us.
Right.
When people say, oh, it ain't all about the money, it's usually people who don't have any that says that. Because those of us that do fucking know that. We don't even got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you get to a certain point and you get some hindsight and you realize that, like, I was watching Our Apprentice, and he's tattooing some grapefruit, and he put passion over profit. And I was like, hell yeah, every time. And the cool thing about be, do, have is you find something you love to do.
Come on.
And then let it make you money.
Man.
And I'm not guilty for that. What is that? It's a Buddhist quote, ain't it? Fuck, no, I just went blank. Yeah. If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. I do not work. I don't have a career. I have a fucking passion and a lifestyle that puts food on my plate, my kids' plates, and it allows me to give it to fucking strangers and put some food on their plate whenever I feel led to, which is a lot. And that's the cool thing about, like, freedom, financial freedom, artistic freedom, is I get to be a better giver.
Man. Well, yeah, it all goes hand in hand. And you nailed it. Freedom. And what that is for you, what that looks like for you. That's why this question from Russ is so great. There is no one cookie cutter right answer for all of us tattooers. And that's why this doesn't have to be confusing, because so many of us are comparing our insides to others' outsides.
And the fucking artist that's out there right now that wants to be at the shop 24/7, hammering away,
Come
fucking
on.
killing it 7 days a week. Fuck yeah, dude. Because
Run it.
I've been that dude too, and I fucking love it.
That's right. That's right, man.
But that's going to change, right?
That's right.
Because, like, it's maturity and it's changing and it's evolving. So who knows? I might want to be Russ Abbott and live or just tattoo one client a week, and that may last 6 months to 6 years, and then finally something will pop up, and I'm like, you know what? I want to fucking knock out some jams every day of the week for the next 3 years, 6 months.
Yep. For the first beginning of our career, the first decade, dude, I had my head down grinding 80 to 100 hours a week, right? By choice, and loved it. I was building something. I was growing, you know, like even you said, when you first met me, I'd come in, start my day at 1 and tattoo till the sun came up, like every day, you know. When we'd go to conventions, the Massachusetts convention, you know, I would tattoo all night long. I was going for best of show, right? And I'd start a piece on Saturday, tattoo them all night long into Sunday, and by around judging on Sunday, I'd be putting the whites in, right? Another motherfucker, and I'd win best of show. And some dudes would have a problem with that, and part of me was like, well, dude, how about you do what I did to do this piece? You can sit here instead of going to the bar and drinking if you really want it, but you can't really talk shit if you're not willing to do what I just did to get this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that hunger, that season of hunger, I fucking love it. So yes, that's why you get to decide where you're at in your career and what is it that you want. When we were going 100 hours a week, I was fucking tattooing every day, all day. That's because that's what I wanted. With our students, it's all across the board. Yes, I help shop owners build 7-figure businesses for the ones that want that. Others that don't want that, they're happy living off $400K a year. Boom, let's create that for you.
$400K.
Right.
I would be happy living off $400K a year.
Totally. And then to the individual students, artists, some of them like...
you're talking about shop owners.
I was talking about shop owners.
Okay, I understand now.
You're like,
I was
what am I doing? What am I doing wrong?
Right. Did I miss something?
Well, no, I'm saying anything's possible, but we don't have to get confused by figuring out what someone else is doing or what they've done.
What do you want to do?
Thank you. And so you can clear the space, make your canvas blank. And here's a big hint. It's the desires on the inside of you right now. The desires of your own heart is foreknowledge of your future. Back to ancient scripture, and people take it out of context all the time. They'll say, God gives you the desires of your heart. And they're like, yeah, so if you want something, just pray for it and he'll give it to you. And that's not what that verse means. Where the fuck do you think that desire came from in the first place? Your desires are different than ours. It was placed on the inside of you and your DNA for a reason, on purpose, for a purpose. The fact that you have those desires is the evidence that you were meant to have and to be that very thing, or else you wouldn't have the desire. And don't discount or qualify yourself if you feel like your desires are crazy, or because this artist or your mentor didn't do that. That's why you are so unique, and you can clear the space and start with your own desires, focusing on the what, and the how will reveal itself. Yes.
Oh no, I heard the timer go off, and you said create a blank canvas.
Yeah.
And I know you got something that over there, and it's cool. I know what you're about to say about it, and I didn't know if you wanted to throw that in before we end the...
Well, this was, just again, here's the thing. We're fucking artists. So if there was ever a gray area or wiggle room on putting value, or what I call proper value, on a piece, it's still subjective, right? And so here's an example. Right here is... a painting, and Mike, can you see this?
Back up a little bit. I got it.
Okay, you said back up. Pull it back over here, Hip. And Josh, can you see this?
Yeah.
This is a painting of a chair. Does he need to back that up?
You hold it and back it up.
Okay. Anyways, this is a painting I got in my home, right? It's a chair painting. When I first saw it, I was like, cool, what kindergartner rocked that? Especially being a realism artist, I was like, man, this chair, the legs are fucked up, whatever,
Clean line
but
work.
it don't matter, because guess what? This is, clean line work, whatever. So me being an artist and a realism artist, I didn't look at this piece and be like, oh my God, let alone I didn't look at it and be like, my God, I got to have that hanging in my home. But yep, here it is. Why? Because someone else in my life, my wife, loved this painting. Okay? And it don't matter. Oh, well, the reason why I'm giving this example is because you can see this at a garage sale and whatever. Most people would be like, nah, I ain't got to have that. It doesn't matter. You're not meant to tattoo everyone, the right someone. One person liked this and saw value on it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And this painting right here cost me $4,000. Right? Now, some people would be like, what the fuck?
Me being one of them.
But it doesn't matter. Some people could be mad at this artist. Can you imagine, like, if you painted this and then took it somewhere and put a price tag on the coffee shop, $4,000? You know how many people would probably fucking laugh? Like, this dude, you sure it ain't $40? You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. The artist did this, and he got to decide and put the price tag on. Me and my wife got to decide, is that worth it to us? No judgment, no nothing. Do I want to play or not? And for her, I played, But this kind of shit makes me happy. Again, if you hear about someone else, especially an artist, and you get mad about the value that they've chose to put on themselves, that is an indicator of something with you lacks understanding. We need to deal with you first, because when you find freedom in your own head, in your own heart, you won't really give a shit about what this guy's doing anyways, you know?
Absolutely.
And I'd like to sum that up, I'd like to leave you guys with this real quick. Let us not get caught up in the tyranny of or, but rather learn how to step into the abundance of and. Example, we get caught up on, I'll use myself for example, I used to be caught up on either I'm going to be a great tattooer or a good dad. Like, to put it in to be as successful as I want to, I got to sacrifice everything. Time with my family, I got to go all in, as if it's an either or. Either I'm going to be great at what I do business or great family man. Versus, back to Josh, living into the question and asking a better question and live into the question of the abundance of and. How can I be a great tattooer and an amazing dad? The abundance of and versus making your life be stuck in the land of or, the tyranny of or. How can I do great tattoos and grow in my own self-worth? How can I do this and have this? The abundance of and when you ask, like Josh said, better questions, the whole universe was designed to serve you and literally will bring you the answers to your own questions. So you ask shitty questions. How's come I don't have any cool clients? How's come my people don't have the money? How's come everyone balks at my prices? Well, you're living in a shitty question. The whole universe is going to give you the evidence and give you your shit answer to your shit question. But if you can learn to, like Mr. Carlton, and to realize, is there a better way to ask this? Is there a better perspective to live out? How can I, boom, and watch the whole universe bring you the answers to what you want, because you're living in a question around what you want versus what you don't want. To be in the abundance of and. Does that resonate with you boys?
Absolutely.
Nah.
I love
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Sounds like some bullshit.
Dude, do you mind telling them this is a lot? You don't have to tell people what you charge today, even though every motherfucker in here is wondering. It's just more, right? But do you mind at least telling them? Because some people, back to manipulation, if you heard what Hip charged, a lot of people would be like, fucking back to that, you know. But your clients are so happy. On top of his full day rates, all the time he's getting huge tips, right?
Yeah, I heard about this monstrous tip that you just got, Hip.
Do you mind telling all our listeners what kind of tip you got yesterday? Or
I got tipped $3,000.
$3,000 tip, you all, on top of an all-day marathon session.
Wow.
Did you hold a gun to her head to give you that?
I did. No, I did not.
Just a little bit.
So for you listeners, that may be mind-blowing. Does that bother you? Does that piss you off? Not only has he got a full all-day rate, that his chair's full, and he got a $3,000 tip. Have you ever gotten a $3,000? Have you ever heard of anyone? Right? There just may be a lot more possible for you in your life than what you've been thinking about right now. This is what we hope today's discussion at least blew the lid off and opened in your own head and heart. My God, maybe, just maybe, when I was thinking this is the only way, maybe there's still a world of infinite possibilities for you in your career, with your relationships, your artwork, your bank account, the people you attract into your life, your culture, and the abundance of and to get to design your perfect work-life balance. How can you be fruitful and successful and have a good family life and be happy? Hip's over there giving me signals and fucking throwing me off. But that was the signal for I'm talking too much, all you listeners. Thanks, Hip.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, again, shout out to fucking Russ Abbott and Mike Chambers. Russ for posing the question,
absolutely.
man.
What a great question. Everybody definitely please go follow, go listen to this discussion that Russ and Mike talk about.
Yes, and I know we opened a can of worms. So like Josh has in the past, we want to let you know we're reachable, we're attainable, anything we talked about today, it's definitely a passion of all of ours. Please feel free to comment and let us know, and reach out to us if you are at a place where you're looking for help. And this gave you permission to desire the what, but you want help on how to get there. Please, we'd love to help you. It's what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We love to hear from you. You know, you guys keep writing in. I want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Cade Bentley. He actually wrote me a message privately telling me how much the podcast means to him. It's kind of a personal message, so I'm not going to read it here. But Cade, I hear you. I see you. I listened. I love hearing stuff like that. You actually made my day. If this podcast adds any type of value to your life, please let us know below. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Love you guys.